What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of JSNB Talk, where we put the risk in frisk. You frisk us, do it at your own risk. You hear that, airport? If you frisk
Ayo.
me, or Jared, or Nicky B, you do that at your own risk. Because, well, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're good to go with the sound.
Perfect.
By the way.
Something could happen.
Jared, have you ever been frisked in an airport? Like, have you ever been pulled aside?
Time.
What's that?
Pretty much routinely every time I go through an airport.
Routinely every time. Is that because
What?
of your? Is that because of your pump?
That is exactly because of
Ah, yeah.
Ah, okay.
that. Yep. They
Dewey
put their
Dewey
gloves,
knew what
they
he
put
was
their
talking
gloves
about.
on everything. Huh?
Oh gosh. They don't stick it in the bum, do they?
No, they do not discriminate on my anatomy, for sure.
Gosh. I actually we are coming up on our prostate exams. Isn't that 40?
I don't know, is it?
Is that when you're
I
supposed
think
to
it's
do
40. Yeah.
that? We do not have chat.
What?
Well, if it's 40, we're coming up on it. We are coming
Yeah,
up.
we're
we
coming
go.
up on it.
We're coming up pretty fast.
Oh, Kyle says 50. So
50 for the old
Oh.
prostate exams.
Oh, okay.
not that fast.
So we're a ways away.
Hit the brakes.
But are we
Yeah.
though, guys? We're
Well,
we're low 30s. I mean, I know it's not tomorrow, but we're
over halfway there.
We're over halfway there.
My
We
dad
are over
also
halfway
says
there.
50. Here's the prostate exams, Dad.
Okay.
Yep, and
There you go, Dad.
Cialis.
Prostate exams in Cialis.
Yep.
Cheers to that.
You guys are also going to notice we have a new look this week here, JSNB Talk. Some new visuals there. Throw us in the comments. Let us know what you think about that. Nicky B, Jared, for your reference, the chat is now going to scroll from top to bottom, meaning the newer messages are going to come in on the top, and they will expire after, I think, 30 seconds. They're going to disappear, so that way we don't have a full bar up there. So
Nice.
Yep,
Coming
yep.
in hot.
We're
Leaving in a hurry.
We're trying some new things here.
We are.
We're having a great time.
So going back to the frisking in the airport, my wife got frisked for the first time. Just randomly. We went to Switzerland over the summer, and she just got randomly selected. Like, Becca Brinson, please come to the counter.
No
and they
way.
took her away to the. They took her away, asked her some questions, and
No kidding.
I had to wait there, and we went on our way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who knows? Maybe we have a opportunity for a lawsuit, discrimination.
Well,
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think you should.
Yeah.
I think you should entertain
Take
the idea
advantage of that.
because you could make a lot of money from a
That's right.
situation like that.
I've thought
That's right.
about many different lawsuits I can pull.
I remember
right.
the one time when we went on a mission trip, Nicky B. I don't remember which one it was, but Tony Sebastian was pulled aside.
Yeah, he lost his stuff. Oh wait,
He was pulled aside and frisked, very thoroughly, and it was one of those things where we all went through security, and then we were standing there and waiting for him, and he was the only one we were waiting for, and they were they were scanning him up and down, and it was a good 15-20 minutes, and it was so funny. It was so funny.
wow,
The old
dude.
sea bass, but were you saying something about losing luggage?
Yeah, didn't wasn't it Panama? All you guys
Yeah.
lost your luggage?
Yeah,
The
it was.
whole freaking team.
Yeah. A lot of traumatic experiences from that trip. So I had the clothes that everybody there. Some people got their luggage on the second day. There was 4 or 5
Yeah.
bags, but the rest of us didn't get it until the 6th day.
Thick.
So for the first 6
Almost a week.
Yeah, and we left in
Ooh.
on day, I think it was we were there for 9 days, so 2/3 of the trip. The only clothing we had was what we traveled in, and then we were all told to pack an extra change of clothes in our carry-on bag.
Yep.
So you had the clothes you wore down there, and then another set of clothes, and that was it. And I will never, ever,
Oh,
ever, ever
man.
forget. I will forever be traumatized by the fact that I saw Adam Olsen wearing a pair of women's underwear that he borrowed
Oh my.
from a woman because he did not want to wear his disgusting underwear any longer. And all the guys were in a room. We all shared a room together. And he just pulled the blankets off in the morning. I don't think he was thinking. I think he forgot what he had on, and there it was. There it was. Yep.
Oh, dude.
It
Yeah,
was.
Kyle, go commando at that point.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Women's underwear cannot be comfortable.
I can't
I'll be
imagine what
honest,
it
I've
was.
never worn a pair, but
Yep.
having a thong right in between your cheeks,
Jared, what do you
that's
think?
just gotta be.
You ever worn a pair of women's
Yeah.
underwear?
I have not.
Of course he has.
I have not. I am blessed to have not.
He's probably wearing them right now.
Yeah. Thinking a thong between your cheeks probably wouldn't feel that great. I'm all for it on a woman. I have no problem with that. But a man, nah.
He's
No.
all for it.
No.
Oh my!
I mean, I can imagine working up there in the tank.
I'm sure
It gets pretty hot.
Oh yeah.
It does. It does. And I have made the mistake when I was brand new of going commando once.
Oh, that's
Oh.
yeah. That is an absolute
And that
mistake.
was that
Yeah.
was a mistake. That was a mistake hard learned because I didn't quite know how to stay cool when it's super hot up there. And so one day I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna come in commando so I can have a lot of air going on. I did have a lot of air going on, but it was a mistake because then
Kyle.
I was scabbed for a while. So
Holy heck.
Kyle,
Feel the heat.
that was a one and done. It's like, hey Jared, you learned your lesson? I would say, yes, I did.
yes, he did.
Absolutely.
Kyle, I
Yep.
remember that guy. I don't remember his name, but I remember you telling me about him. And then I met him. Like when I worked there, I worked with him for a little bit, but I don't remember his name. That guy was something different.
Something different.
Anyway, enough about women's underwear.
Yep.
Let's see.
I will not mention the name in chat.
Perfect. Love that. Big fan. Love that.
I think you should.
We're not dropping names here.
We are not name
Or are
droppers. But well, we do try to destroy as many reputations as possible on a weekly basis, so maybe we should.
right,
Anybody
I'm all
wants
for it.
roasted, their reputation slain, we're here for it. Jared, Stu, and Nicky B.
Yep.
We
I'm all for it.
we will do it. We don't discriminate. Whoever. Fathers, doesn't matter.
Fathers,
Yep.
sons, daughters,
You name
wives, grandmas.
You name it. We'll roast them all.
Slaying them all.
Oh
Anyhow.
my. All right. Well, couple things, gentlemen. Big news in sports world, in several sports worlds
Huge.
this week. Brian Brinson, glad you're here because you're going to. I'm sure you're going to have some thoughts and some opinions. Kyle, Ferg, what's up, dude? Ferg says, I just saw your comment. I get them every week as a little treat to myself. What were we talking about there?
Maybe prostate exams?
Oh,
Maybe
That's
he gets
probably-
a thong
I
every
think
week.
that's
A
probably
little
what,
treat to himself.
sure thing, buddy. You do you.
Eh,
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, big news in sports. The long anticipated free agency for Shohei Ohtani came to an end.
Jeez.
Got
I feel like we need a little celebration, little thing going
some
off
confetti
in our stream.
shooters popping
Yeah.
off or something. I will never understand. I'll never well, I guess if the money's there and the market's there, but Shohei Ohtani, 10 years, $700 million. $700 million.
Boom.
Now, what's crazy to me is after doing some digging on this and seeing the way that the contract is structured, Nick, I think you were the one who pointed this out to me, and then I went and looked at it myself. This is going to completely negate Bobby Bonilla Day. Like that won't exist anymore. He's not even going to be talked about in a decade.
Blow it out of the water.
Because Shohei's going to take $2 million. Jared, I don't know if you saw this. The way he negotiated, so it's $700 million over 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
So we get 680 after 10 years.
And then $68 million a year.
60.
So Shohei literally said,
I thought he's only taking $2 million each year.
He's taking $2 million for the next 10 years.
Right. So then he would get $680 million.
And then for the next 10 years, he's taking $68 million a year. So he's essentially
it was for 10 years.
Yeah, he essentially paid. So it's a 10-year contract, but he's being paid over 20. So he essentially said
he'll probably be retired after.
Yeah. After the first 10 years,
yeah, I thought
for
he was
sure.
Because
he's 30 now. So what he essentially said was, for the next 10 years, I want you guys to put, I want you to be able to take this money and invest it into other players. Let's build a roster to win a World Series, World Championship. And then the 10 years after that, screw you, Dodgers. Like he don't give a hoot about what happens after he leaves LA. Cuz
I will say actually on that, I did a little bit of reading too on this.
Okay.
So the business, I guess it's like major business people behind the ownership of the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So check this out. They're required to have I don't know, it's sometime before like maybe within 5 years, I don't know, maybe within 8 years, but sometime before that like next chunk is supposed to come out, when he starts getting the 68 million, they have to have all of the rest of it in escrow, right? So what they do is they put all of that in escrow and they gain interest on it. So or
what?
they would put I think it said like 300 million. Out of the 700 million, they put 300 in escrow, and by the time they have to start paying out, all that interest will accumulate and they'll have all the money.
Million.
Yeah.
What? I mean,
Isn't that crazy?
That's so smart though. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Business minds at work right there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure in LA you don't have one owner, you have an ownership group. Like Magic Johnson, I think, is a part owner. So like, you don't have an issue with money there. That's not an issue. But no, that's genius. And like Brian said, to undermine the salary cap, smart on his part. It's really smart. It's really smart and on multiple, for the player and the team, right? It works for both.
Yeah.
So
because Shohei will get at least 50 million in endorsements each year.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
So
yeah, that $2 million, he could go the next 10 years without making a dime from the Dodgers, and he'd be fine.
Dude, that's just like any CEO in America making $1 on for a salary.
Yeah.
Because they have all the stock options and all the rest.
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna do everybody a solid and take $1.
So I also saw that the Dodgers were that they're still shopping for the one Japanese pitcher that he's like the hot topic from over in the Nippon League.
Yeah. The other he's
Yoshinobu
pitcher, right?
Yamamoto, I think his name is. He's a pitcher. So they're also looking at signing him, and he's projected to get like at least 10 years, $200 to $300 million. And then they're also, I read today, potentially trying to trade for a pitcher from the Tampa Bay Rays, Tyler Glasnow. So if you pair the three of those guys with Clayton Kershaw, now Kershaw's only going to have another year left on his deal.
Does anybody know what the Dodgers' budget is? Is it like $1.5 billion or what?
Yeah, something like that. But again, I mean, not really. I mean, so they have these they'll have these players, but if they can restructure Yamamoto's contract to mirror Ohtani's, and if he takes a small amount per year annually, and they can do something like they did with Ohtani, and they still have Mookie Betts, they have Freddie Freeman, they got two of the top three people who in MVP votes last year. I read a stat. So you had Mookie Betts finish 2 in MVP voting in the National League. Freddie Freeman finished 3rd, and Ohtani finished 1st in the American League. So they literally have a first place, second place, and third place player in MVP voting on the same roster starting the season.
Oh gosh, that's freaking nuts.
Crazy.
Well, I don't
Crazy,
know if you
crazy.
saw, but Yamamoto met with Phillies personnel
That is
today.
not going to happen. They're doing their due diligence, Nicky B. That is all that is. They are doing their due diligence.
Oh gosh.
Yep, that is as far as that's going to go.
I don't think the Texas Rangers were supposed to win the World Series last year.
You're right, but Jared, let me tell you, if the Phillies sign Yamamoto, I'll buy your house.
Wow.
You'll buy my house.
Yep, I'll pay for your house.
That's something.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, y'all heard it here first.
I will
will buy
purchase
my
his house for him.
It's not for sale, but he will.
Dodgers
he will buy
active
my house.
payroll is around $160 million. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know who else is worth?
Well, I guess they had some contingencies in their contract then, because if that's their budget and they were able to get away with that, and yeah, they'd be like, hey, we're just going to write this in our contract. We'll pay you this, this, and this for the next 10 years. We'll do this, blah blah. We're good, right?
I guess.
Hey,
100%.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brian,
if it's under the law, I guess you can do that. So
Brian, I'm not saying this to be smart because you're a Mets fan, but just in comparison, I know the Mets had the highest payroll in baseball last year. Where does this put? Where do the Dodgers sit now in comparison? Did they surpass the Mets, or how's that look?
I wonder why the Dodgers were able to do that, sort of throw all those contingencies in the contract. Like, is any Major League Baseball team allowed to do that, or
Yeah, there's
is
no limit.
is somebody in bed with the LA Dodgers where it's like, oh, dude, we can do this and nobody else can? You know what I'm saying?
You would think, but there's actually no limit on how much money can be deferred in contracts.
Really?
According to the MLBPA.
Just in MLB,
yeah.
or all of sports?
I think just MLB.
Just in MLB.
Just MLB. So there's no limit to what can be deferred.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Brian asks.
Learn something new every day.
Brian asks,
Mets.
would you rather have Shohei Ohtani or Mike Trout? So, what are we talking, Brian? Are we talking like right now, or are we talking like Trout a couple years ago, like when he was more in his prime? Are we talking right now?
I saw a video of that, or something similar to what Diab is saying, where it was like the most valued baseball player or whatever, and that had like Mike Trout come out, but then it was like Ohtani came out and was like pitching against them. I don't know if it was clipped, or I don't know, because I don't know if they actually play against each other or what, but then it was kind of like, oh, it's Trout, and then it's Ohtani. But I'm like, yeah, whatever.
So career, over the span of their career, I think this hurts me to say because I'm a big Trout guy. Love Mike Trout, but I think just because Shohei can do it both ways, and he does both at an elite level. He's not like really good at one and like mediocre at the other. He does both at a very high level. I think you have to go Ohtani, and that's to take nothing away from Trout because he's great, but he's just that good. So
yeah, it's nuts.
By
the way, my dad said that what is it? Mets, that's their payroll?
$253 million. Yeah.
And I looked it up.
So Mike Trout is what? Just what?
So Mike
pitches, or he just hits?
He plays left field, center field, I think both. But he bats. He does not pitch. So yeah, Brian, I hear that, but also if you even if you put Trout and Ohtani up against one another just at the plate, you might lose a little contact from Trout to Ohtani, but you're gaining a lot of power. That guy is a stud. He's jacked. I think you got to go Ohtani. Honestly, I don't, it's dicey because Tommy John surgery. You don't know if he'll ever pitch again.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any question you go Ohtani because there's too much upside.
Right.
There's way too much
upside. Right.
You can do both.
Because even if he does only pitch 1 or 2 years, that's still 1 or 2
years
years
more
of
than.
plus pitching and hitting. Like,
Yeah, but
and
Mike.
then you still got the rest of the way. You got Ohtani's rest of his career hitting.
Yeah.
Dave Alderman. We're talking about the most overrated contract in baseball history. Yeah, let's not gloss over that, okay? Because he's kind of. I wouldn't say. I personally wouldn't use the word overrated, but. And I guess this is a moot point because of the way he structured his deal for the next 10 years. But $700 million. Okay, so to put into perspective, Bryce Harper, who's one of the best players in the league, signed a deal for $330 million. So for $700 million, you could get 2 Bryce Harpers. And the reality is, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout are a walking, talking testimony to the fact that baseball is a team game, and you cannot win at the highest level in baseball with just a couple of guys. You have to put a full team out there. 1 through 9 has to hit. Your defense has to play. And, I mean, you had Trout, arguably the best player of like our generation, and now Shohei, who could go down as one of the best to ever play the game ever, if he can continue to do both at a high level, pitch and hit, both on the same squad, and they never even sniff the playoffs.
That is just
That's
wild.
crazy.
Honestly, I'm pissed that never happened.
Yep.
Like, how did the Angels just royally mess that up?
Well, and the thing was too, like the Angels made some moves to get to, like, they signed Anthony Rendon, solid third baseman from Washington. They made some moves, but
yeah,
they just didn't pan out. Like Rendon has been a flop ever since he's been with the Angels.
I remember that.
Yeah, he like died out hard. But yeah, I don't know why you don't, with those 2 guys, why are you not trying to move players around, right? Trade players, sign free agents, like. You're in LA. You know, that's a market in and of itself. You just have LA in front of your name. Yeah.
Gosh. Well,
yeah, injuries
anyway.
too. So, but worst part of the Angels is they let Ohtani leave and got nothing for him. Should have traded him. Yeah, I was really wanting to see what that package was going to look like in the middle of the season. I wanted to see that so bad. And then what I really wanted to see was somebody trade for him, and then him go and play somewhere else in free agency. Because can you imagine, like, you trade, it would have had to been 3 or 4 of your top prospects plus 1 or 2 major league ready players, and you would have essentially just rented him for like a month, because he ended up getting hurt mid-September. He got hurt and didn't play for the rest of the year. Bro, that would have been so funny. Just glad it wasn't the Phillies. So, yeah, 14 first-round picks and a bag of chips. But somebody else became a multi-millionaire, or not became, I'm sure he was already a multi-millionaire, but he became even more wealthy this past week, Jared Huss, and that guy goes by the name of John Rahm. So, Jared, who is an avid golf watcher, as well as myself, we both feel very passionate about these moves that are happening in the world of golf. So, Jared, how did it make you feel to read the headline news that John Rahm left the PGA Tour to join Live Golf?
If you were to describe me as like a friend, would you say I'm loyal or disloyal?
It depends on the day, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, that's false.
I would say you are very disloyal.
Yeah. Well,
that went south, didn't it, Jared?
You weren't expecting that, were you?
No.
All right, Jared is.
That's exactly fired. That's exactly what I was expecting. Yeah, that's exactly how I.
That's exactly what you should have expected from your friends. Chat, for clarification.
Exactly how it felt.
Jared is very, very loyal. Very loyal. Late for everything, but very loyal.
Yes.
Very, very disloyal.
We always have our flaws, all of us.
So Jared, so
So
so so
yeah,
you felt
that's kind of how it felt.
you were excited for
Betrayed.
Rombo.
Well, dude, don't be a professional in your sport, right? And then win like tippy top tournaments that you can only win, yada yada yada, right? And then go around and be like, no, do you live? And there's just I'm right there with Tiger and Rory and everybody else has been saying not live, and I don't need the money, blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden be like, yeah, I left, but I just want to let everyone know. I'm pretty sure there's only been one person that I know of that's at Live, goes by the name of DJ, that has said, yeah, I left because of the money. Everybody else has been like, no, I want to go because it's going to grow the game. I want to go because it's growing the game. I left because it's going to grow the game. I want to go there because it's going to grow the game. First of all, how? It doesn't. The game of golf is literally the game of golf. Yeah, you can go and you can play scrambles and high school and play as teams, this and that. But the game of golf is literally like it's a game. It's an individual sport. It's literally an individual sport, right? Just ask the GOAT. Just ask Tiger. Be like, hey, Tiger, is golf a team sport? Nope. It is literally an individual sport. You and you alone. So he goes over there. He's like, nah, dude, I want to go over there because I want to grow the game. How? It's not actually getting people involved in the game of golf. It's like bringing more eyeballs to the sport of being like, hey, dude, we're just out here like drinking some beer on a golf course. That's not the game of golf. You can do that, but that's not the game of golf. So yeah, I'm pissed off.
So real quick,
I feel stabbed in the back by John Rahm.
well, I'm sure
Yeah,
he's very
I
upset that you feel that
really.
way.
I
Yeah,
tell you what, just
there he
like
is.
Aaron Rodgers, he
Just my
is
freaking left
indeed
one.
a sandbagger.
John Rahm is a sandbagger.
Yeah.
So two things,
Yeah.
Jared. So I will say, got to give credit where credit's due, right? We got to call a spade a spade. Jared says those two things all the time. John Rahm did say in an interview on the Pat McAfee show that the money was indeed one of the reasons why he left. So I will give credit. I will fact check
Sure.
you on that.
Originally, he said that he was not going to leave, and he didn't need the money.
Yeah. So
Now, I guess maybe it changed. I don't really see how it would change though, from being like a multimillionaire to like, oh, now all of a sudden I'm gonna get hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, your finances changed that much in a few months? I find that very hard to believe. Call me a skeptic, am I right? But
yeah,
come on.
but Rombo, Pat McAfee asked him like, "Hey, is like the money?" And he's like, "You bet your freaking chicken's the money." Right, Brian? Yeah, that was good. Brian threw that
Bet
in
your
there.
freaking chickens.
So that was one, and I don't remember what the second thing was. I had a second thing, and I don't remember what it was. But yeah, look, the reality is, oh, I remember. They're not. So I would say they're not like they think that Live is like better for the game of golf. It's almost like
It's not better for the game of golf. It literally makes the game of golf less competitive. You are literally competing with like you're not competing individually. That's not the game of golf. The game of golf is incredibly mental. And what do I tell you all the time? It's not physical. I mean, it is physical a little bit, but it's all mental. It's an individual sport, and now it's like, oh, we're gonna grow the game of golf. How? You're playing with teammates. That's not expanding the game of golf. That's making it easier.
Do they play with teammates every all the time?
So there's
you got the high flyers and whatever else dumb freaking names they come up with. It's like, look, I understand that. I told Stu, I was like, look, if me and Stu were on the golf course playing on the weekend, that's the type of stuff we would do, right? Where you just go out and you play recreationally. It's fun. Not at that level. And then for Liv to be like, to have the arrogance of being like, you know what, we're going to compete with the PGA Tour. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Brian just commented. I think he hit the nail like right on the head. PGA is trying to play both sides of the fairway now. They want to maintain the integrity of the PGA but tap into the Live money. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. And I do honestly feel like super bad because they used and abused some of the top guys on the PGA Tour like Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods, even a little bit, right? Some of these guys who were like extremely outspoken from the start about this that were offered a ton of money to go to Live and they didn't. And then Jay Monahan the entire time was in bed with Liv and working out this deal. And I remember the day that that they put out the notification that like the PGA Tour and Liv were like combining, and I still don't fully understand how that's happening.
Apparently they're not yet. Apparently
yeah,
they have to be like by the end of this year. That's what Tiger was saying at his Hero World Challenge
because
last month.
I didn't fully
a couple weeks ago.
I didn't fully understand how he could leave to go to Live if they're like the same entity now.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand how all that works.
I don't think they are yet. I think there's a deadline coming up at the end of this year.
Yeah,
well, and that's
exactly,
what
Brian.
I think. I don't know if I'm accurate though. I'm not,
that's what the players in the NBA learned a long time ago, is that you can never be like being loyal to a team is good and like it looks good. It's good for PR. You know, all the fans love you, but at the end of the day, the team's gonna do what's good for the team. So ultimately, they could trade you no matter how big you are, and they could just move on and grab other guys and whatnot. And so that's where the player empowerment era came in, to where all the players figured this out, kind of realized like, oh, these teams don't really give a crap about me. So, you know, I'm going to structure the contract and make plays that are good for myself rather than, you know, and if it's good for the team also, that's good. You know, that's just a plus. But I think that's where the PGA comes in, and they're obviously a business. You know, they're in it for the money. So
Yeah.
I don't see. I also see where Jared's coming from, in that like all these guys who went to Live, I mean, it's just stupid. They should have just come out and said that they're going for the money.
Well, and that's
Like,
so that's the thing, that there was only one guy
Yeah.
from the start that was like openly honest about it. He's like, yeah, I went for the money, like duh. Like
and you can respect that more
wouldn't
than
go
anything else.
And it's like, yeah,
DJ literally is the only one that I have even like an inkling of respect for.
yeah.
Right.
Well, and
because he was like, he literally was like, yeah, I left for the money. Okay, at least you're honest, man. You left for money.
Exactly.
You're a schmuck, but okay, I get it. You're an honest schmuck, I guess. He's like, yeah, I left, you know, I left for the money. And I was like, okay, cool. I mean, obviously I'm a big fan of Brooksy just because his talent is really unmatched when it comes to majors, but that's a different story.
yeah, but it's funny because now they're talking. I guess Rory came out and said that they have to change the rules for the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. Now that John Rahm went to Live, because essentially he's saying like John Rahm needs to be on like the European team or the world team, and so he's calling for rules to be changed. So now it's like the whole element, right? The
Dude,
tides are
it's just a
changing
disaster.
within the whole thing. Rory used to be like, absolutely not. If you're not on the PGA Tour, then you should not be able to play and represent, you know, the Ryder Cup teams. And now all of a sudden Rahm goes over there, and now he's maybe being a little soft. Brian, stop. Let me be judgmental here, because I don't make that kind of money. Okay, so.
He's asking Jared, by the way.
Oh, Jared, yeah, Jared. You wouldn't go to another company if they offered you ridiculous money. By the way, Brian, you spelled ridiculous wrong.
Yeah, he's a terrible speller.
So, Jared, if Lando Lakes were to come over tomorrow, if they were to come across the street and they were like, "Hey, Jared, you do this job over here. We want to bring you over to our plant and pay you double," you would say?
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, that's kind of a faulty argument. I forget who said that a while ago, but somebody argued, oh yeah, it's just like it's like an office job, right? It's just like, oh, you work here, and if this company offered you more money, you wouldn't go over there. It's not. That's not. I don't interpret it the same at all. Because like you're a professional athlete, you play golf professionally for a living. You don't get paid poorly at all if you're good, which is what Tiger was saying months ago. He's like, you all the incentive to put in the work and actually get good and get top tier and win tournaments or win almost all of tournaments or win all of the time. Look at Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler just won the Hero World Challenge and won I don't know how many millions of dollars. He won that, but he improved his putting and he won, right? Because he's like he's the best ball striker by far and everything like that. So all the incentive to actually like get out there and grind and work hard and improve yourself is gone because it's like, oh, dude, I can just go to Land O'Lakes. I don't have to improve myself at all to go to Land O'Lakes. I can just go to Land O'Lakes and get paid $4 an hour more. I mean, I guess that would be appealing to lazy people, but I don't.
With that being said,
No.
Brian, yes, he would go.
Yeah.
I don't
In the end, it's all a job.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're playing a game. It's a job. You're getting paid to do it.
Yeah, what I don't like
That's
about it
good.
is, well,
That's
okay,
it.
so let's also, yeah, there you go. Kyle says a job is a job. If I played for the Braves and made $5 million a year, and the Mets called me and wanted me next year for 10, deuces, I'm out. It's all a job.
Kyle, you spelled played wrong,
Yeah,
but
you
that's
spelled
fine.
played wrong. Played. Come on, dude. There we go.
Oh, there it comes.
Fixed it.
Played.
What? So what I think live obviously the game of golf, not necessarily the game of golf, but the people who are enjoying the game of golf. There's evolution happening there, right? So think back to like when golf started. You see these pictures and like guys are dressed in like their knee-high pants, it's very fancy, like they're out there playing. Guys on the PGA Tour, they're playing in pants, they're not allowed to wear shorts, collared shirt, right? When you go to the golf course, on like a Saturday, right? Like yeah, there's people out there that are wearing a polo shirt and they might be wearing like golf shorts. But then you have people that show up in like tank tops and athletic shorts and I mean, I can't even say anything because I have a Bluetooth speaker that I put in my cart. Like we have music playing, while we're playing golf. That a decade ago, no way, right? Like
No shot.
But that's what I was saying earlier. Like you and me, like we'll go out recreationally, on the weekend or whatever and do that. That's kind of like a live, like, right. We got music playing where I'm in Vans and joggers or whatever. I don't care. Just out there playing golf, right? I'm not competing at a professional level. I'm not like, trying to win the four majors, every year, anything like that. It's just it's a completely different
yeah. So
scenario.
I think Liv is just trying to appeal to the younger generation. And make it is, Jared, you and I have said it before, it's like a party, right? They show up, they're in shorts, they got loud music playing, and people are screaming, and it's not the golf that we watched a decade ago when it was Tiger and Phil Mickelson and these guys playing on Sunday. It's just the evolution
But
of
stop trying to put like lipstick on a pig, right? Stop trying to sugarcoat it. It's like, if you're going to be that way, fine. Be like, hey, come over here. It'll be a party. We'll give you tons of
right.
money. It's great. It'll be a lot easier. No big deal. Everything's cool. But they're not. They're like, no, we're better than the PGA Tour, and we're going to try and get all you guys over here on the PGA Tour because it's so much better. It's not better. It's easier and it's more fun, I guess. Yeah. But stop trying to compare yourself to the professional golfers, like, association. It's just stop trying to compete with the Masters and the U.S. Open and Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. Like, just stop, right? Stop with the nonsense. Be like, hey, man, it's a big old fun party with tons of money. Okay, great. I would have no problems. But they keep acting like, no, we're just as good, if not better. You're not anywhere close.
Well, okay. Let's rewind that a little bit because you have Brooks Koepka, who won a major, almost won two last year.
Yes, and I know, and I just said when I was talking about DJ, I was like, I do have mad respect for Brooks Koepka just because his skill level is literally unmatched when it comes to majors, besides Tiger Woods.
But who did you also say was talking about potentially joining next year? Victor Hovland. He's one of the best golfers in the world. Let's not pretend that Liv doesn't have talent. If you were to put listen, hold on, because you just kind of said it's not even close. It is close on the top end.
I never said that Liv didn't have talent. I said they're trying to compete with like. They're trying to call themselves like they're good or as good as like the PGA Tour as like a whole. Not the skill, not the individual like skill that they keep, bringing over, but like stop trying to say, you know what I'm saying? Because the PGA Tour has, the Masters, U.S. Open, British Open.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about like player talent.
No, not player individual skill. I'm talking about like as a whole organization. No matter, even though Jay Monahan is corrupt as they come, but that as the whole organization, like stop trying to say you're as good, if not better than them. You're not. Just be honest, right? Just be honest. That's it. That's all I ask. You can give them $800 million a year for like, or I don't care. Just be honest with what your intentions are. Yeah. Stop trying to like sugarcoat it and be like, we're as good as the PGA Tour.
Well,
Nah.
If you are, wouldn't Tiger Woods come out and say, you know what, they're definitely as good as the PGA Tour, if not more so, but I just am choosing not to go over there.
well, these guys,
No.
and that it tells a story. Like these guys go to live, but they still want to come back and play all the majors. So that says something.
Yeah, what does
right?
that tell you?
It's like we want to go to live, but we still want to come back and we want to be able to play whatever we want to play on the PGA Tour. We want to come back and play these events. Come on, if live is so good, then just go be a part of
No.
live. Then
Yeah,
be a part of
go
live and
be a
don't
part
be a
of
part.
Live.
So forget the Masters, forget the the Open, forget all of it, and even the non-majors, right, bro? Like one of my favorite tournaments is coming up. It's the Waste Management, dude, the loudest hole in golf. Like, just forget all that. Go be a part of live. Go play your team event in your shorts with your loud music and have a good time. Take your money and that's fine.
Kyle,
But
I don't disagree with you when you say, yeah, the PGA Tour doesn't pay. I don't disagree with you in the fact that I don't think they pay as much as they should, because when you're on the tour and you're competing, 4 days of golf is extraordinarily hard. It's very taxing. Believe it or not. I know if Adam's still in the chat, he's gonna be like, "Oh, it's not. It is." Like, and when you have a family or whatever, you got all your travel expenses, the practice, everything that goes into it. Yeah, to win a tournament and only get paid, I'm going to say only get paid. Let's say on the, like the lower level tournaments, get paid like around $1 million, right? $1 million, yeah, only, right? I understand, Kyle, that it's like, hey, they could get paid a little bit more, but they're still getting paid pretty sweet. Now, to go play for 4 days, make the cut, I mean, and win for $1 million, yeah, it could be a little bit more. And I mean, I do think that they're working on it. I don't really know exactly all the details about that, but I do think they are working on that. And honestly, it might be just Jay and Liv being like, "Hey, we'll merge, and I'll just."
Well, that's kind of what they did.
We'll get all the money,
They got the money from them, and I think the purses did increase. But Brian, to answer your question, so Brian said, "Why not let them play both?" I don't necessarily have a problem with them playing both. My problem is when all these guys left, when DJ left, and when Phil left, and when they all left, they knew fully the consequences to those actions. They knew, like, hey, when I leave here, I will be suspended, right? I'm no longer going to be. I'm gonna have to surrender my PGA Tour card. They knew all those things were going to happen. They knew that Live Golf did not have World Golf Ranking points. They knew all these things, and yet they still went, right? Because the incentive was green. It was money. They went, and then after they went, then they started complaining because, well, what do you mean? I can't play the Masters. I can't play in any of the major tournaments. What do you mean I'm not going to get official World Golf Ranking points? What do you mean? No, we won all these things. We want these things. It's like, well, look, it's like, okay, you can either have it this way or this way, but they want it both ways. So, the
PGA Tour was not controlling their career. They can decide what their career is and isn't.
So Brian,
they don't have to go to the PGA Tour and be like, oh man,
where else are you going to go and play?
They can. I'm just saying, like, it's not like, oh man, I'm going to play golf and I'm going to join the PGA Tour and now they control my career. I mean, you don't.
But where else are you going to go and play?
I think what he means by that is they don't tell you, hey, you have to play this weekend and you have to play this weekend and you have to play. You pick and choose. You pick whatever tournaments you want to play and you show up there and play.
If you want to only play in the 4 majors, you can only play in the 4 majors. If you want to play in every tournament every weekend, which I think who's complaining about that? The Phil or Bryson?
Somebody was complaining about
having to play like every weekend. But then even Tiger spoke up and he's like, well, he didn't say this, like, I'm kind of paraphrasing it and saying it indirectly, but he's like, if you're good enough, like if you put in the work and you got your skill high enough, you don't have to play every week. Or if you did play every week, you can literally win all the time, right? Or you could just focus on the 4 majors, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do. I don't know this, exactly, but I don't think the PGA Tour is like, hey man, X player, you have to play in all these tournaments. You have to play in this, and this tournament. Like, it's not. It doesn't. It's not. It's just not the way. It's not the way it works.
What's my dad saying there?
Kurt
I didn't see it.
Flood was controlled by his team and told he couldn't play anywhere else. He's the first free agent. PGA is his team, and players are Flood. No, I don't know what any of that means, Brian.
I don't know what flood is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who Kurt Flood is, and you're showing your age there, pal. I think because you just lost 3 out of 3 in the JSNB talk, so you have to
3 for 3. Batting
reframe.
1,000.
So my thing is, right, so you have essentially 2 leagues. You have the PGA Tour and you've got Live Golf that play the same sport, but they're separate, right? Or they were. At the time they were. Now they're kind of the same, but they were separate.
But they're not yet.
Right, but they were.
1 second.
Yeah.
Just one second. Dad, why are you calling me? I'm on a podcast.
Brian,
anyway,
you butt dial your son?
Rookie mistake.
You butt dial your son?
But
Butt dial, yeah.
so would we say that a player could play in the NFL and the USFL? Like, would that be okay?
Yeah. I think so. Why?
But I'm like, you don't think people would be upset about that?
It's
Like,
hard to say because
what if their seasons were happening?
Even brought up.
I know. Well, kind of the same thing before Live Golf.
Well, Michael Jordan can play for the Los Angeles Lakers and the Chicago Bulls. You can play for 2 different teams.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's
the same thing, right? Like,
that's not the same because it's the same league. But like these two, so say the NFL and the USFL existed at the same time, but their schedules were on different nights. Could Jalen Hurts play quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles and then go play quarterback for a USFL team too?
So I think a better comp would be baseball or basketball, because I think football is like the most taxing sport you can think of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas baseball,
No.
basketball.
Brian, Dion did 2 different sports.
Yeah, we're talking about the same sport. So
yeah, we're talking about same sport.
I think he would have, like, if you had enough pool, you could do that. Like, like if Steph Curry wanted to go and play in the ABA, a night or 2 a week.
Yeah,
I bet he could.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't like that. Especially if, again, these players knew when they signed on the dotted line to go to Live, they fully understood and they knew exactly what the consequences were, and then they got there and then they complained about it. So my thing is, like,
yeah,
you knew what you were getting
there.
into. You took the money, right? You sold out for the money. You want to, and a lot of them, it wasn't about the money, right? It's like, oh, we can play less golf. That a lot of them said that. Well, we're going to play less golf and we're going to have more time at home, but yet they still want to come and play on the PGA Tour. It's like, okay, well, do you want to play less golf? No, you don't want to play less golf. You just wanted the money.
I think what you guys are most irritated about is the lack of transparency,
loyalty
from the golfers.
No, it's loyalty.
Yeah, sure, a little bit. Sure, yeah, I'll give you that a little bit.
I mean, like
you said, Jared, you can respect the guy.
Also, like the lack of loyalty to what Stu was saying, and like if they want to go to Live, by all means, but Live, know your freaking place, right? Respectfully, right? Know your freaking place and build tournaments like the Masters, the US Open, the British Open, the PGA Championship, right? But they won't and they can't because they know that isn't going to have anywhere close to the amount of just historical significance that those tournaments actually do, because they're like 200 years old. They've been around since like the very beginning, right? So Liv is like, oh, dude, we're just we're the PGA Tour, right, Stu? Or we're just as good or better. You're not, though, anywhere close. And again, why all the Live players want to come over and play those tournaments is because they don't have that opportunity over there. 1, because obviously the tournaments aren't there. And 2, because It's a freaking team sport over there. They don't have 4 days of playing by themselves, competing at the hardest courses and harshest conditions ever 4 times a year. They don't have that. Like, respectfully, that's fine, Liv. You don't have to have it, but just know your place.
Just know your
Right?
place.
Just know your place.
Know it. Own it.
Brian, rewind real quick. Brian made a comment back here that I wanted to. He said, if you're at the top of your field, you deserve the money. If you're not a top player, Liv ain't gonna sniff your jock. So
Liv
Brian,
ain't gonna
I need
sniff your
you to
jock?
do
I
me a
don't know,
favor
dude.
and
Sergio's not
yeah,
that good.
I need you to go look at just
Go look at-
Google Live Golf team rosters, because other than like the big stars that they stole, it is very top heavy. There's a lot of guys that wouldn't sniff a PGA Tour card. I would say probably
Really? Like
probably
they never
half.
never had a PGA Tour card?
Look, they took Joaquin Neiman.
I mean,
know
I
they took
don't
a couple of
know
other.
because I don't know
I
who's
know they
had
took
PGA
a
Tour
couple
cards.
of like Joaquin Neiman's friends. I don't know. I'm sorry that
But, like,
I just
Brooks-
know about like Joaquin. Like
Brooks
they're-
Koepka's brother plays at Live. I don't know if he's ever had a tour card. Like,
Wait a
I
second, but
don't-
even if he did have a tour card, he never even came close to winning a PGA Tour event.
right? That's what
So
I'm
it's like,
saying.
hey,
Like,
Liv's like, hey man, we'll give you $30 million, right? Which is nothing to Liv to come over here, and he's like, okay, cool.
I'll get to
What does
go
that
play
tell
with my
ya?
brother.
Yeah, that tells you like I don't really have to improve my skill at all, Brooks. I can just come over there and earn 30 mil. That's great. That's cool.
Dude, I don't think you guys realize the kind of money that's in the Middle East.
No,
They are the
ridiculous.
richest people on the planet.
No, yeah.
The richest people on the planet.
Jared knows.
If they have the money, go for it. I'm all for it. They're allowed to do that. But stop saying like you're competitive with the PGA Tour. You're
You're
not.
posers.
You know what I'm saying? You're freaking posers. If you guys, I mean, I know they're all built. They're probably sitting on trillions of dollars with the oil,
Brilliant,
I'm
yeah.
sure. So it's like you have the money to do that, fine. But don't say, oh man, now we're competitive with the PGA Tour. How? You play in teams.
Have they said that though?
It's not. Yes, they say it all the time. Greg Norman does. Greg Norman says it all the time.
He's an idiot.
He, and it's like, but again, what I mentioned earlier, they all want to come back and play those 4 majors, right?
Yeah,
Right?
and there's a
Because
reason for it.
Liv doesn't have that. That's got so much historical significance. I mean, ask MJ, ask Tom Brady, ask any of these people, right? That play golf like recreationally. They all know how significant those tournaments are, and so does everybody that went to Live. That's why they want to come back and play them.
Any golfer in their right mind, if they had a choice between Live and PGA, just all things aside, they would take PGA all day, because you can't build history over the course of 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, let's say, and I mean, I don't mean, Sue, we were talking about this probably last year or whatever. It's like, look, if you made no money on the PGA Tour, right? But let's say you, or I don't know, let's say you lost a ton of money, or you're in a ton of debt, right? You're like tens and tens of millions of dollars in debt.
Phil Mickelson.
Oh, cool! I can go to Live and play golf, right? Okay, but just say that, right?
Yep.
Just say that. Don't go over there and be like, you know what? $35 million in debt. I just want to go to Live because I would like to grow the game. Because I believe that everyone's as stupid as I think they are. So if I just say those words, I think everybody will believe me.
Oh, you want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Dude, like, can't handle the truth, you know?
Oh my.
Just be honest. It's really not that hard.
Yeah, those guys.
No,
there's 2 guys that went to Live, and if there ever was a merger where all the players were welcome back, I wish they wouldn't. Patrick Reed can stay, and Harold Varner can stay. Just both of them. Patrick Reed because he's just a arrogant little freaking not nice words. And Harold Varner, dude, my guy literally just freaking wears basketball apparel when he plays golf, and it just irritates me so much.
What did your dad just say, Nicky B?
Yeah, Liv is challenging 100 years of history in the PGA, and it's always going to be met with animosity. Just like the baseball rules, they're ridiculous, because
Yeah.
challenging 100 years of history.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong there.
Yeah,
That
I
is
mean, you're
that's
not wrong,
100%
Brian.
accurate.
That's kind of the point that I was trying to make too, right? So when you're talking about 100 years of history, you're talking about players, but you're also talking about the game itself, right? What do people say golf? Golf is a gentleman's game, right? It's a gentleman's game. Now you have live, when you watch like a live event, it doesn't
They are not
really
gentlemen.
feel like a gentleman's game, right? Again, because like when you think golf and you think gentleman's game golf, you're thinking those things I just said, right? Polo shirt, pants, it's quiet, it's respectful, there are no Bluetooth speakers, it's that kind of thing. And then Liv comes out here and they're like, hey, here's loud music and it's a party and we're shotgunning beers and stuff like that, and it's challenging golf and the history of it.
So Kyle said something about same way with racing. New high limit series coming in and challenging the World of Outlaws. You know anything about that, Stu?
So the high limit series those are both like dirt track sprint car racing series. The World of Outlaws is like the nationwide. The World of Outlaws is essentially the PGA Tour. It's the top series in all of dirt track racing, and then you have this new high limit series that I forget who it's owned by. Kyle, if you can throw that in there, I want to say it's like Kyle Larson and somebody else, but they're coming in and kind of just challenging the way that things were done, and some drivers are wanting to not drive for the World of or they're wanting to run both series and stuff like that. So to make it appealing to others. So
that's something my sister would know about because she goes to the races every weekend.
Yeah, she probably would. Larson and Brad Sweet, yeah.
Dad, I thought I was younger than that actually. I thought I was like 3 or 4 because I think you guys brought earmuffs for me.
What car was it? Was it? I'm guessing Steve Kinzer.
Steve Kinzer.
We'll see if he throws it in there, but no, Brian. I mean, it doesn't make it wrong, and I think you said earlier, about like Sammy Swindell. Well, yeah, I remember him. But yeah, Brian, you said something earlier about. Let me find the comment here.
Used to have a sprint car piston sitting in my or no, not a piston, spark plug sitting in my room.
I can't find his comment.
What's he talking about?
He said, "So does that make live golf wrong? It's golf just different from the PGA." Again,
okay.
I don't necessarily think it's wrong.
I never said it was wrong.
It's just for me personally, it's just
the way that they're going about it. It's a disaster the way they're going about it right now.
Like to me,
and again, well, Nicky, not transparent, not honest, completely disloyal. Everybody from PGA Tour, I'm going over there to grow the game.
But it's also
you're not.
It's also like I said, for me, it's you fully understand the consequences of your actions when you leave, but then you're demanding as soon as you get there for these things to change. And okay, so so to me, before you make that decision, then you need to weigh it out, right? Okay, if I stay here, I get to play in all the majors, and I get to do this, and I get to do this. If I go over here, then I get my money, and I get more time at home with my family, and blah blah blah. Figure out which one matters more to you, and then go do that thing. But to go over there and then start all this drama with official world golf ranking points and the PGA Tour itself and stuff like that,
start lawsuits and all this kind of stuff. Like what a bunch of crap.
And what really irritates me is a lot of that was spearheaded by a guy that the PGA Tour literally made in Phil Mickelson. Like, when you think back to our childhood, dude, it was Phil Mickelson and it was Tiger Woods. It was the two of them. It was like they were going at it, in every tournament, in every big one. It was Tiger and Phil. And
but
and
I mean,
Phil Mickelson, bro, sold out. Like, that's.
I mean, this is before like you started watching golf, or probably any of you guys. I don't know how close you are to golf, Brian, but like I mean, when I was what 2000, I was 10. I mean, I remember Tiger was competing against. I mean, Greg Norman was still competing against Tiger. You know,
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. I remember watching him at the Masters and stuff. Like he used to be right there. So then to see him go from like, okay, if you got beef with the tour, fine, but
Excuse me, sorry guys.
don't like drag everybody else into it, and
Yeah.
Well-
like settle your own beef, like with you and whoever you have to settle it with. Like, stop trying to dirty up everything else.
So I'm kind of on the same wavelength as my dad. He says that there a way to challenge the PGA without making these types of waves? And I would say no. Just like you challenge anything, the status quo. Anytime you make even the smallest change, there's going to be an uproar. Granted, this is a big change, so there is a big uproar. But I think anytime you challenge years and years and years of history, there's going to be ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I don't
I mean,
necessarily.
again,
I'm not
haven't-
afraid of change. I think that like baseball, right? Your dad said like there's some rules that they change that are absolutely stupid. There's some that I really like. So, like the universal DH, love it. Those types of things. I'm not afraid of change. And personally, I don't know. Maybe they did have a ton of meetings and they're trying to change things and nothing was happening, so they felt like they needed to go to this extreme. I don't know. I'm obviously not involved in those conversations or those events, but I don't know. I think the way that it was all done. We live in a culture. Here you go, Jared. Culture, right? We live in a culture where people they don't take responsibility for their actions. There's no consequences to your actions or decisions anymore, and so
there will be.
It's a very entitled mentality, right? So to me, these guys that went to live, they feel entitled because they played at a high level on the PGA Tour. So even though I know when I go to live, I'm not going to get world golf ranking points, and I know I'm not going to be able to play PGA Tour events up to and including majors. Even though I know that, I've still competed with those guys at the highest level for several years, and so I'm entitled. I deserve to be there. And that's where it's like, no, you don't, because you literally, like, you knew that. You knew when you left, like, that this is a direct consequence to a decision that you made, and now you're paying for it. And so you just need to, like, swallow the pill.
Look, if Liv controls the PGA Tour in 10 years, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If they keep the game and the history of the game as is, why would you want to change the game and the history of the game? Why would you want to change that? You can add to it, but why would you want to change it? So if Liv wants to control the PGA Tour in 10 years, I'm all for it. I got no problem with that.
I
just don't change the history of the game.
I would bet a lot of money that it's not going to look anything like the PGA Tour now in 10 years.
Well, that's going to piss a lot of people off.
It sure will,
myself included.
But again, though, as older people start to die off, right, and like the newer, younger people that are playing golf now, right, you're gonna see a swing. You're 100% going to. And again, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Like I said, we play golf. I mean, we have music on and whatnot. I mean, to say that having music on is a crime in the golf, I mean, we'd be hypocrites, right? We do all that, and again, I understand we're not on the PGA Tour, but I mean, we see it everywhere. Look at baseball, right? The rule changes that are happening, the evolution. I mean, you can argue that it doesn't change the game, but it 100% did.
Why is Jack Nicklaus? Well, how is it? I don't know if it's okay. I guess maybe a little bit. Why is Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods not come out and said anything positive about Liv? Anybody know? No, nobody knows. Everybody in the chat. Does anybody in the chat know why Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods have not come out and said anything positive about Liv?
Call him up.
Like,
Kyle,
why
shut
is
up.
that?
Well, it's like I always say,
Like, why
change or
is that?
die. Change or die.
Change it to make it more relatable to the everyday Joe. It's all about the money. More fans, more money. Well, Brian,
To make it more relatable to
you're starting to
that's
sound a lot
literally
like Adam
that's
Ferguson with the
that's
baseball
literally
rule
that's
changes
literally
and
like,
pitch clock.
hey, Stu, we're gonna go play the city amateur, right? And Jared, typically, if you wanted to win one of those, you'd probably have to shoot, I don't know, upper 60s, something like that, like right for both rounds. Now, Jared, you can come out and you can shoot 84 and 85, and we'll still give you a trophy. Where is the incentive for me to go out and practice and refine my skill or improve my skill at all? There is no incentive. I can look at Stu being like, bro, we're still going to get on the podium if I go out and shoot like 12 over both days. Like, who cares? No big deal.
That is
That's
another
like
thing I don't
pathetic.
like about Live because
That's
everybody
like
gets prize
horrible.
money. Everybody.
That's like
There
so
is no-
bad. That's literally
yeah.
like, hey, everyone has a participation trophy. For what? For
There-
showing up and just walking and breathing today?
So
Like,
you
what?
literally play 3 days of golf. You play 54 holes, and everybody gets money. Like there's no
That's
cut
crazy.
line. There's nothing. Everybody gets, and I don't like that either because
That's more like a team sport.
well,
Or
it is,
just like
and that's what Jared
any
was saying.
sport.
Like Live Golf, there's a team element, but there's also like a individual element. I don't fully understand how it all works, but there's
Nobody
teams like there's
understands
teams
the
of 4. It's really weird. I'll have to look it up more and try to understand it. But yeah,
I
everybody
would-
that shows up gets a paycheck, and I hate that.
So
There's
I would
no
venture to
cut.
say if you're looking forward, 10, 20 years into the future, I would venture to say this is temporary to where like they're just throwing money at it to get it going, like as absurd amounts of money to get it going because
Okay.
they have the money.
Okay.
But then I would say 10, 20 years down the road, it's not going to be like this. It's going to be they're going to slowly start taking that money away.
Boy,
Because
do I
they
hope
can't
so.
just keep like dishing out billions of dollars. I mean, I guess theoretically they could.
I don't know.
But
A million's a long way from a billion. A trillion's a heck of a long way from a billion.
yeah,
I'm saying
it is.
it
It
does
is.
run dry. Just how long?
But
how long?
it's not at the same time. It's not good business to just continue to bleed yourself dry like that.
I'll be
No.
honest. I gave
No.
Liv 1 year. I thought for sure I was like, this is gonna flop in a year. They're gonna sign all these guys, and they're not. Cause dude, they still don't even have a TV contract. I don't think
that was around.
they're
that
not
was
even on
around
television.
The
They're
time,
broadcasting on YouTube.
that was around the time though when Sleazeball Jay and Liv was like, hey, by the way, we're gonna merge again without Jay telling any of the PGA Tour players. Remember that?
So
Remember that whole
Are you as mad at the PGA Tour as the players?
as the players?
I'm pissed at Jay Monahan. 100%, dude. I think he did
At
the
Jay?
PGA Tour
Yeah,
players
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
dirty, so dirty.
There you go.
I can't really say the PGA Tour as a whole, but Jay,
Yeah,
yeah, there's a freaking sleazeball,
bro.
Yeah.
It's on all sides.
I mean, just like
Yeah,
just like all commissioners are, all commissioners of all the major league sports are. I don't know one that's like, but yeah,
I feel,
Jay,
dude,
yeah.
Rory McIlroy has gotten the shaft in this whole thing more than anybody. More than anybody. He is probably the highest profile golfer left in the PGA Tour that didn't leave that's not named Tiger Woods. And he's been the most outspoken on the PGA Tour side. Adamant, that the future of golf is not live, and he said it publicly, right, in interviews over and over and over again, and the entire time felt like the PGA Tour and Jay Monahan had his back. And then Jay Monahan goes and gets in bed with Liv and literally did not include Rory or Tiger or any of these guys that stayed loyal to the tour. Did not include any of them in the plan, the conversations, nothing. And dude, Rory was done so dirty by Jay Monahan. That guy's a crook.
A crook.
A crook.
A sandbagger if I've ever seen one.
Jay Monahan is a sandbagger for sure. Real quick, Jared. Brian says it's all about self-motivation, self-pride. Are you, Jared, I'm guessing he meant going to let this old bald fat man shoot an 88 to beat you. So he's asking, I guess. So you're
Like
saying
if you were on the tour together, like if you were playing and live together, and no matter what, you make money. Are you gonna let
are you
an
gonna
old bald fat man shoot a better game than you?
or is that going to be a motivator as well?
I don't know what I don't know what everybody's gonna shoot when they show up. So yeah,
Right.
I
Well,
know where
no.
I know what Brian's saying. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna go out and try your hardest. But are you gonna go out and try your hardest when you get a participation trophy and you get a paycheck no matter what? Or are you gonna go out and try your very hardest if you have 4 days to play? You have to hit a certain cut line after 2, and then you have to play as good, if not better, to win.
Logically, you're gonna
Obviously,
play harder that way, but
like,
at the same time,
yeah, it's
it's
gonna be
not
a
like
lot
you're
harder.
just slacking off.
Which is what I
I think
told
that's what my
Kyle.
dad's getting at.
I mean, earlier I was like, I don't disagree with Kyle when it's like, yeah, pay him a little bit more. Like, I mean, they can afford it. Like, pay the guys a little bit more. I get that. You have travel expenses. You're gone for 4 days. Most of these guys have families. They're married. Like, I get it. They should pay him more. But again, I completely agree with Tiger Woods when he's like, where is the incentive to go out and grind it? Get calluses on your hand, like put in the work, be there from sun up to sundown to actually make the cut in every tournament and then try and win every tournament, right? It's gone. The incentive's gone. Sure, you can go out there and have self-pride and be like, oh man, I want to win, but I mean, if Brian beats me, that sucks. Yeah, it's really too bad that Brian beat me. But I still got a nice big fat paycheck, so we're good.
We're good. I'm going home to my wife and kids.
I'm going home to my wife and kids.
Bet your freaking chickens.
Bet your freaking chickens you are.
Ah.
I know
All right.
I am.
Welp, since I'm looking down here at the timer, it's been an hour and 11 minutes. We're 11 minutes past Nick's bedtime. Well, actually 13 minutes. The time is 9:13. For those of you who don't know, Nick is in bed every night at 7:30. Maybe not quite 7:30. He's an early bedtime and an early riser, so we got to get him off of here so he can go to sleep.
My guy, you better hit the ceiling with the broom.
Oh. So, lots of talk about millionaires tonight. Maybe one day we'll get there, gentlemen. JSNB talk continuing to grow. Thank you guys all for being involved in the chat. Brian, Kyle, Ferg, love you guys. Yeah, that's all going to change come January. Yeah, Nick's not going to bed early anymore because he's going to have a crying, screaming baby. Oh, but you're going to love every second of it.
Joke's on you because I'm going to love every second of it.
But yeah, so I think we're up to 80-some TikTok followers now. 84?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Hit 90 plus Facebook followers.
Let's go. And roughly 50 YouTube subscribers. So
about to hit 50.
About to hit
if
50.
You haven't subscribed to the YouTube, go do it.
Do that,
Hit that
right
sub.
meow.
Excellent.
So yeah, so for those of you who are here, thank you guys very much for hanging out. If we want to do final thoughts, or if you guys are good, we don't have to do final thoughts. Does anybody have anything they want to say?
Anybody got any final thoughts?
Jared,
Nope.
I think you're over here.
Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Nicky B down there.
And make sure to sub to our platforms. Appreciate it if you haven't done so already.
Talking about millionaires, make sure you guys let us know if you ever become millionaires. We will be hitting you up for some little cash.
Oh, yep, that's that. Yep.
Yep.
Becca says I just subscribed to
YouTube.
Oh,
thanks,
YT.
Becca. Appreciate
YT.
it.
Woo!
Perfect. We got another one.
Thank you, Becca.
On my screen, it looked like a VT, and I was like, "You just subscribed to Virginia Tech? What?"
Hey, go Hokies.
Let's go Hokies.
Bye.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, Thursday at 8:00. Thanks for hanging out. Later.